Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. Miranda Maverick versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. Miranda is 25 years old, has a record of 11-4, and she's giving up 4 inches of height and 2.5 inches of reach to Jasmine Jasudavicius, who has a record of 8-2. Jasmine has, in her 8 wins, 2 TKO victories, 1 submission, 5 decisions, and her 2 losses both come via decision. They're both the current UFC fighters, Elise Reed and Natalia Silva, both of whom got victories recently, I think in this month. And the Elise Reed fight was close, the Natalia Silva fight wasn't. And in that fight, despite being the wrestler, Jasmine Jasudavicius, she was actually taken down a few times there. But Natalia Silva was just beating her up throughout that whole fight. So it's forgivable. She has only a few solid victories. She had that win in her last fight against Gabrielle Fernandez. She ripped her to the mat multiple times. That was largely a wrestling performance, and she looked damn good doing so. It's the best she looked since the Contender Series, where she fought Julia Palastri and hit 4 takedowns on her as well. If she can make it a wrestling battle, she's more than likely going to win the fight. I don't know her credentials. I know she's a Canadian, but she's got credentials, which is enough. And Miranda Maverick, she's got wrestling herself. She's a top game fighter, first and foremost. But here, I feel like there's room for Jasmine Jasudavicius to be a potentially bad stylistic matchup for Miranda Maverick. And it's got nothing to do with the height and the reach. Unless that just means leverage in the clinch, which leads to a takedown. Really, she's got a bad stylistic matchup potentially in that she is a wrestler, Jasmine. And Miranda Maverick, she's better everywhere, I'd say, aside from wrestling, but she's better on the feet and overall on the ground. I trust her ground game more when she's on top of you. She's much better jiu-jitsu-wise. And on the bottom, she's a survivor, never been put away. She's got a record of 11-4. Her 4 losses are all by decision to Erin Blanchfield somewhat recently. Macy Barber, close fight. Not really. Miranda Maverick was robbed. She won rounds 1 and 2 there. Deanna Bennett in Invicta, and Brogan Walker-Sanchez, who I think is still in the UFC. She avenged the Deanna Bennett fight, by the way. Avenged it in the finals of a tournament and got her out of there in the 3rd round. And that was after beating Shanna Young and Victoria Leonardo, 2 current UFC fighters. She beat all those girls on the same night. Got Victoria Leonardo out of there, beat her by decision. Also beat her by an armbar in a regular Invicta fight. Armbar from the full mount. But she beat Shanna Ross with a rear naked choke in round 1. She also beat Shannon Ross in her last fight by decision. Largely a dominant decision. She kicked her ass, but she wasn't able to get her out of there. So Miranda Maverick's definitely beaten her share of good girls throughout the years. Pearl Gonzalez, former UFC fighter, an excellent fighter over in Invicta. That was a close one, but Miranda Maverick ended up winning the wrestling battle in the end there. It was a pretty close one, but she was out scrambling her and secured more control time. And she was also working well enough from her back, throwing up these half-ass triangle attempts and stuff, but still making Pearl Gonzalez move. And I look to that stuff because here I think she could be put on her back by Jasmine. And, Jasmine Jasudavicius, even though she's a better wrestler, she's not the force on the ground that a girl like Erin Blanchfield is. Erin Blanchfield is a monster from wrestling and jiu-jitsu, being married together, and she becomes that monster. Jasmine Jasudavicius, she is more of a blanket on top, which is good. She's got a big, long frame, keep her weight on you. But yeah, I think if she starts playing around trying to advance and submit Miranda Maverick, if she gets her on top, gets her on the ground, she's going to leave room for Miranda Maverick to get up. Look, overall, I'm expecting Miranda Maverick to win this fight. I can't say she's going to duplicate the Natalia Silva performance because she doesn't move and strike as well as Natalia Silva, in my opinion. But she is definitely better on the feet, Miranda Maverick. Definitely better on the feet. I expect her movement to carry her to a victory on the feet. And as far as the, grappling goes, even though Jasmine has better wrestling on paper, Miranda Maverick is a physical beast, and she's no slouch overall in the grappling. And I'd say she's got better jiu-jitsu, certainly, than Jasmine Jasudavicius. The thing is, despite me picking Miranda Maverick to win, this is a potentially bad matchup because all that jiu-jitsu and top game shit could be, taken off the table because she's going to lose that wrestling battle. You got to win the wrestling battle to get the fight to the floor, or pull guard, or pull a leg, or whatever the fuck. But I'm picking Maverick. I'm betting on Jasmine. Jasmine Jasudavicius. If she was to win, it'd be by decision. You get that at plus 300, which I have played. It's just a small play because, again, my pick is Miranda Maverick. She's just the overall better fighter, and I think she can duplicate the success of both Elise Reed and Natalia Silva, just maybe not as well as either one of them. Because Maverick, even though you could argue she's a better fighter than these girls, it's because all of her other strengths altogether. And in this fight here, those strengths might not be available for her. So she might have to scratch and claw for a victory, but I still say she's more skillful and gets the win. But again, I'm betting on Jasmine because, degenerate and all that. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.